All right, Maddie Stew back with my boy Nate G's for next week. Nate, how we doing?
We good, bro. I'm feeling 100% healthy, or at least close to it. Yeah.
Good. Hey, before anything, we need an alert update. Have we rescheduled our
Yes. So that's gonna happen August 22nd now. That's the
fill
best
in
party because
fill
they
in
have
again
different
for those who don't know what we're talking about? What is rescheduled and what is happening?
the swinger party. Yeah.
Swinger party.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Any
The
more
swing club.
details on like requirements? Is like a dress
So,
code?
so, so they have each weekend they have different themes. Like they'll have like gold, and the themes are for the girls. So like they're like gold. They suggest all the girls wear different kind of clothing in gold, or transparent, so everything's see through. Or I think the last one was like pretty panty night, and basically, there's a competition voted by everybody's there who wore the best thing that fit the theme, and then I think the winner gets like free membership. There's like a hotel getaway that's like an adult sex club theme kind of hotel, and then there's like cruise ships that they do. So they give all this stuff away. If you decide to dress up as a theme, you don't have to dress up as a theme. Like they don't want to put that pressure on women, but a lot of women do because why not? And you're going there for that. And the one that's coming up on August 22nd is actually, I forget what the theme is, but it's Young Couples Night, and supposedly Young Couples Night is like their biggest bashes every couple months. So they do like half off for couples under 35, which we won't. Well, Mac could qualify. I can't qualify, but and because it's $100, $150 per person, or to get to go to these things. So a lot of people end up going on those nights because it's cheaper. So
All right. So the world wants to know: do you get a bring a friend pass to these things at all?
no, you can't bring anyone who's not already has a membership. So
And could I just pay for membership?
yeah,
Not that I would.
yeah. Well,
Oh,
you have to interview for membership too. They have to call you up and they have to talk to you.
even single guys can become members.
No, not for those clubs. They have a different. They have a different. They have what is called hot wife, or like fantasy
Well, a
nights.
guy needs a substitute. I can substitute in. They
No,
got a
but
substitute
this is
swinger.
funny. If me and Mac were to break up, and even though I have the membership, wouldn't be able to go with another girl. I would have to reapply for membership with whoever's my new girl.
Swingers run a tight ship over here. Second question: when you said transparent outfits, I instantly thought of you in see-through underwear. Are you participating in this as well?
No. And I mean, I'm sure there are guys. I mean, just like there's couples that dress the same. I'm sure that whenever we go, there are going to be couples.
Nate, I think you do well.
They're going to be in the matching whatever it is. They have like a Polynesian night. They have a all in red. They did a red, white, and blue for July 4th. So yeah, it's like cute. It's like super cute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna stay on alert and put that in the calendar, and
Well,
we're
I mean,
gonna.
when we're at August 15th, I'm gonna be like, all right, man, I'm really looking forward to this because I've waited
No,
extra
you
long.
can't mention it. You'll jinx it again. Uh, Avoid all Taco Bell, by the way, before you go. But you're jinxed it, and you got to keep it. So
Yeah,
it's a recap only at this point.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. We're
Let me ask you, Nate.
what?
What are you looking forward to next week?
Okay. What am I looking forward to next week? I had like a hard time, but like I think it's Intel earnings. Are you familiar with Intel? The
I'm not.
company?
So I was really curious. Well, I know at Intel, but
Yeah.
when you're looking forward to Intel earnings, it wasn't on my
So
radar.
so like this past week has been pretty gnarly in the markets. I don't know if you've been tracking it, but definitely with like the biggest trade the last 3 years has been the AI trade, right? And it's mainly gone to the companies that manufacture or like build out like semiconductor computer chips, right? And everything from the people who make the machines that make the chips to the people who design the software, like NVIDIA, to make the chips, to the actual processing of the chips, which is like mainly from Taiwan. But I think Intel is in that last bucket for the most part. Um, They design and manufacture a lot of chips. I mean, they're in so many. They used to be in all of Apple products, and for the longest time, Intel was like kind of a dud company. And then this AI trade happened, as well as the president putting it as like, which it is like a national security risk to build out the AI program for the U.S. as fast as possible, as best as possible, because of our major competitor, China. But not just China. You just This is like the new frontiers. It's like space, right? Back in like the '60s with getting to the moon or whatever it is. It's kind of similar, but a lot more important than just getting to the moon. And the last 2.5 weeks, that trade has been coming apart at the seams, man. Like this week, even though the indices like the S&P and the Nasdaq didn't move, under the surface, these chip companies and anything associated with the AI trade has gotten demolished. And so I'm curious to see if, and I'm probably going to, because I don't listen to a lot of, because you can listen to the earnings reports. Like you can listen to the CEOs and the CFOs. There's a link on all like YouTubes for all these, on YouTube for almost every company that wants to drop their earnings, and you can just listen. Even if you're not an investor, you can listen to it. And I tend to listen to like, just like, I'll listen to like stuff in like the liquor and beer, because I'm in that industry. I definitely listen to like Nvidia's or the Tesla, because it's Elon Musk or it's Jensen Huang, and they're interesting to see what they see about the world. I don't necessarily listen to the banks, but I think I am going to listen to the Intel one, because I'm just curious at what they're going to say about where the state of that, not only just the AI sort of build out, but the basically what they're forecasting, and then see how the market reacts. My fear is that it's going to be bad, but I'm actually kind of hopeful that like maybe not, because I don't think we're in that. You know what my big call is, which is like we're going to face some pretty hard times in the next couple of years, probably by the end of the decade. I just don't see that happening yet, and this would be kind of an indicator of that.
I see the possibilities of it. I think I'm a little more Well, I reserve a little bit more optimism. I think I'm more pessimistic on certain things than you are, and you're
For
more
sure,
right.
for
But
sure.
we were on that, where I think like you're 100% right on like the possibilities of it, and I agree on how we get there is how you envision it. I foresee that things can prevent that a lot easier than us getting there. Where other things I don't feel that way. Now, when you say about the race with China and space, like I totally agree. And I want to ask you like two things. A lot of people call it like the Manhattan Project of our time. I, I don't know if I would put the AI race specifically, but I agree that when you tie in the race of space and you tie in AI and all that technology, then yes, that is the next Manhattan Project as far as I'm concerned. My question, do you think we're going to win that? And where do you see the SpaceX stocks tying into all this? Because, that looks like it really is a huge indicator of of the future market of all that, because it was the first one to drop. So I'm kind of curious in how you see all that.
Yeah, I honestly, we have the first mover advantage over China, but it's seeming like, and for the longest time, man, China seemed like it was just like low quality stuff for forever, and now it's not the case anymore. They're definitely, I don't say they're out engineering us, but they're definitely engineering hard. I guess the best way I can say it. They're engineering really, really hard. And part of the sell off this week was because China released one of those large language models that supposedly is open source, meaning that like you don't have to put all your data to OpenAI or Anthropic to run their language model, and it's similar to, I guess, the Fable is the big Claude one now, and I forget what the OpenAI one is. But
Do you?
yeah,
Let me just.
I don't necessarily think that there's going to be any one clear cut winner. What I think is that the edge advantage is going to shift from one company that's based in China to one company that's based in the U.S., and then maybe like another company in Europe is going to come out of nowhere has a language model that's more efficient. Because basically, what we're talking about is like fine tuning engines, and like there's no one dominant engine, right? But there's
Yeah.
a BMW engine for the longest time was like, oh my god, that's like a phenomenal engine, and then it switched to like the Japanese engines, and like, oh my god, like now we're back to American engines. So it just
They do different things though, but like I mean, they're all listen. There's like you said, there's multiple places making different engines, right? It's like it's not just isolated to one type of engine. Just like there's not one type of AI model that's going to be isolated, and even just like on the scale in America, Gemini, Claude, and GPT all do different things. Like when people are like, "Oh, what do you use?"
And you
Well, what do we
use all
use?
three of them, right? Like
I use all three
you
different
bounce,
things. Yeah.
yeah. And that's
So I,
most of the people that I listen to or talk to. No one has one specific. It's not like Google, where everybody just went to Google once Google became Google. And I don't think that'll ever really happen.
I completely agree. But like, so do you think we're winning the war? Like, do you think we're going to win the war with China? And I guess like, is there a war in that sense? If like, because
Oh,
it's
it's no
not
fault
like,
war, bro. It
well,
might not be like a fault war.
but if it's not like a yield to a nuclear bomb like they make with
No,
this
no.
Manhattan Project, right? If it's more like, well, we've already seen like, well, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I think it's more than just a race of these models. It's more of a search of what they're doing beyond that we don't have a full scale of, right?
For sure. But I think more.
To it, I think.
Well, what mostly it's more about who controls the possibility or potential for like cyber fraud or cyber control, like the things that like AI could do if you decided to do bad shit with it. I think that's the thing that's most important. At least right now. At least right now.
Do you think that China dumps like I'm gonna call it the crap, but like the Timo version of the stuff into the markets that they want us to see and behind the
Yeah,
scenes?
so they could drive down the price so that they could fucking duh, bro. They're gonna do the
Like
same
that
thing.
way, where you can like not take their like when you say like we don't take their technology seriously, is like do they even do that intentionally? Like let's dump all this crappy cheap technology out there so Americans think that, and behind the scenes we're doing this.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I also think that they're doing it because they're China's goal from at least it's like a person who doesn't really know politics all that well, doesn't know China all that well, but knows that like it seems that China always looks to just increase its market influence, and the best way to do that is by making stuff cheap and fast.
Yeah, I mean they're like we could spend a whole day
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah,
China.
yeah, yeah. Well, let me flip. So, what are the things you're looking forward to?
Oh man, I mean, no spoilers, I promise, but the Odyssey. And I mean, I saw it, but I guess I'm looking
How'd you
forward
feel?
to. It was incredible. It really like, like. Let me just say, like, I think for Nolan to be finished Oppenheimer and to say to himself, okay, how do I top this next search of an interpersonal struggle of action and consequence? How do I top that from an Oppenheimer? And I'm like, how does he top that? He just did.
Especially for you
Um,
because you loved Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer is always going to be a personal one for me. That because of
Understood.
just of what it really represented at the core to me. But this film, I would say, like one, I mean, it's a 3,000-year-old story, right? Like, so and it's one of the most famous stories. And even Nolan said all of his films have some elements of the Odyssey in it, right? It's like the
Yeah, yeah,
perfect
yeah, yeah, for sure,
journey home, consequence of action home,
for sure.
so deeper. And Nolan, listen, from an experience, this was a one of one. I've never I've never seen someone tie in this. It was a whole new way of sound. Like he went to Ludwig Göransson, it was like make me a whole new everything,
Yeah, I
right?
love Ludwig, bro.
He was incredible. There was no like natural chorus or anything. It was very different, unique sounds. And the way it was incorporated in, it really like shifted the tone. Like you really felt like you were in it. And some of the camera work and the action, like you were at the edge of your seat the entire time. The editing was absolutely perfect. The way like Nolan doesn't just tell a story; he shifts, he goes around.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
He did it. It was like
He played with time, didn't he? Because that's his thing too, man.
it was just like it was riveting. It was perfect. It was a masterclass in filmmaking. It was a reminder that what's amazing about filmmaking is like there is no blueprint. It is like he just took a 3,000-year-old story, and for all the cinematic amazing like amazing moments in it, like the way he's just able to tap to humanity and tell a story and get you to be like awe, but also hit your emotions is just he is such a master of bringing every aspect out in a person watching a film and letting their mind be in it.
Yeah,
Like you're in Inception, you're in Dark Knight, you're in Interstellar, you're in Oppenheimer. You are more in the Odyssey than any of Nolan's films. Period.
that's a bold statement. Okay, so I got a couple questions. One, when you were leaving the theater, what was kind of like the vibe? Because that's always like a good sign. Because like, when you leave a good movie, people are like jazzed and everybody's still talking about it, even when you're in the bathroom and you're next to somebody in there talking with their friend. And then there's the movies you walk out and everybody's like, "Yeah, I just need to get in my car. I need to get home."
Well, yeah, like okay. Nolan's films are also a lot of them. Their ending in many ways is a new beginning, right?
Sure.
Like in many ways, you're like, oh, he left you. He left you with so much more in a good way. Leaves you thinking.
Yeah.
I think everyone got up. We're just like, holy shit, like shaking in a way. It's like an audience. Like, I mean, he left some of the more intense stuff to the end.
Okay.
And so like, and he's done that with before. Like,
Yeah.
his build up and like tease of an audience is, and then you expect to see things earlier than you might. It really was just incredible the way he did it. It was just a masterclass across, and he took you on a journey. And I, I am, I will say this, like all like the criticism I talked about before with you, but all the criticism they cast, like no one doesn't have social media. No one doesn't do all this stuff. Like he makes a film or as accurate as possible. The Storms are raving about it. It's a highly recommend see. I saw it in 70 millimeter. I bought
Oh,
tickets.
you did?
I bought tickets.
Oh,
I saw it in 70 millimeter. It was Universal. Like
yeah. The big one.
incorporated again. It was like I've never. It was like how people talked about like our parents talked about seeing Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen anything like that in theater. This was like the last time I felt this way coming out of theater was Saving Private Ryan.
Whoa.
As far as like what you saw on screen, on how like to me the way Spielberg shot that on the beach,
Yeah.
brought you to D-Day in the first 30 minutes. You're holy wow, right?
For sure.
The opening was wow. Nolan, where I think he did almost the reverse. He built up it all, like the whole movie. You're wowed, but the end, he almost gave you your D-Day at the end. If that makes sense.
It's funny you said we talked about that too, about him, being so committed just to telling the best story. I just got a note from my unpaid, I guess, assistant, Max. She goes, "Oh, he also used the first proper translation of the story." I didn't know that. Did you know that?
Well, I did not, but I could only I came out and like, how many times did that guy read that story?
Yeah.
Right? Like, because it was, I remember a little bit of it, and I could only imagine the challenges of like how to tell it. And it's like, I have just no criticism. I really don't. I mean, it was like, people could say about the runtime. I mean, like, give me another hour of that.
Yeah. Because it's probably like over 3 hours, right?
No, it's 2 hours, 52 minutes.
That's got to be his shortest film of all time.
It's I would have taken. Give me the director's cut. I can't wait for the director's cut, right? Like, give me the 4-hour version of that.
My God! All right.
Yeah, but I highly recommend everyone seeing it. It was because it was not just like we get these great movies. It was a reminder of how there are no boundaries. Like, I think Nolan. What's amazing about Nolan is he's himself his own Odysseus, right? Sure. Of like, whatever I will do, the next challenge to this journey, an adventure that never ends. And like, again, like he just keeps looking for the next challenge. And it's like, you hear all the behind the scenes from the actors of what went into this film. You're like, whoa. So it's yeah.
All right,
Um,
all right.
but I'll keep going, but I recommend you see it. But let me switch gears. What are you not looking forward to?
Yeah, this was tough too. So I'll stick it with the markets, which I don't like to do both the things on the markets, but whatever. This is really important. On Wednesday, every month, there's option contracts that there's a big sort of expiration on option contracts. And one of these days, I'll kind of break it down a little bit more. But uh, there's a thing called the VIX, which is basically like a measure of volatility in the S&P. People call it the fear gauge because if it rises, it tends to correlate to sell-offs. Um, and there's a bunch of option contracts on the VIX that expire every month. And they call it VIXpiration. And usually it happens before the big stock indice options expiration, but that happened on Friday. And there was a huge, like, you opened up in pre-market and it was like a big sell-off that ended up being rallying as those contracts started to either get sold out or expire. And when it happens before, a lot of that volatility happens before the options expiration, and then things sort of level out after options expiration, the indices options expiration. If the VIX expiration, the VIX expiration happens prior, but when it happens after, there tends to be a little bit more madness. And I just feel like even though there's been a sell-off, things been wonky in July with the VIX option expiration happening after the indices option expiration on Friday. This Wednesday, I don't know, man. Everything is just shaping up for like a really, really bad half of July. I don't know. And I think it's going to start, we'll know on Wednesday. And it's just making me feel like I'm not properly positioned for it. And I would imagine if I'm not, then probably a lot of other traders, investors aren't. Hey, look, man, there's always ways to make money.
Yes, yes. How much do you think that the speech he made, kind of going after China recently, affecting the markets in the mood? Because he really he put them on notice.
Yeah, I mean, I think that honestly, man, I think that the market's going to look past that because that's just saying what the market already knows and kind of alluding back to the thing that we were talking about the Chinese large language models and the AI race and all that stuff.
Not even with the AI stuff. With he addressed the nation last Thursday, saying that China meddled with our elections. And,
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, man, I think that's all. I think that's all more about him prepping for, and I could turn this to you, man, but I think that's just him prepping for the potential of losing the midterms.
Well, no, but I know that that's definitely I could see how people think that, but I think that before that, he's got a meeting with Xi coming up in September,
Yeah.
right? So, like, my first thing was like, take the partisan stuff out of it. Like, he just went to China and was trying to like talk about like how great of a trip was, and if he now has, whether he has this evidence or not, if he now says he does, and that's sandwiched in between now Xi coming here, I would imagine that affects the markets in this like uncertainty. That's what I was curious to.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of the thing that I was saying about that VIX expiration is that like we've been kind of coasting for, we had that little blip right before the war, and everybody was scared about $200 oil, and which is wild because the gas really hasn't come down and things have gotten more expensive, especially like diesel, but the uncertainty level is rising, and I think that after Wednesday, things will start to percolate a little bit more. I guess the thing that I'm just most worried about is things have been too complacent, and as well as like the I guess what reignition of this war, like things that we've been kind of super complacent, and usually when things are super complacent, that's when bad shit can happen. And I wouldn't be surprised if the speech for Thursday, which I didn't catch. You'll have to hit me up when we're off. Just thought about the highlights of that because I didn't catch it. But Yeah, yeah, man. I don't know. Just mark your calendars on Wednesday and be curious if on Wednesday you hear about some like uh craziness. May actually probably wouldn't even be Wednesday. It would be Thursday. It'd be the day after. So
I
just
definitely keep up with all that, but I'll put it on the radar.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think it is tied to what I'm,
yeah,
not
yeah.
up.
So because I think this is going to dovetail right into that. So what is the one thing that you're not looking forward to this week?
I'm not looking forward to the next steps of this Iran war, right? And I'm all for getting rid of the regime, but I think that, just recently, CENTCOM announced that there was two KIAs killed in action,
Yeah,
Americans, and then one missing. And, I think that, I mean, listen, I kind of saw this coming. I said this to you a month ago, or a month and a half, about a month ago, that this is gonna happen. We're gonna hit their infrastructure and whatnot, and that's what America's like been pounding them this last week, and the media's not really even covering it because they're just like hitting bridges, infrastructure. I think they are preparing to possibly take Carg Island is a possibility. I think that and even like I heard Jonathan Swan say this, that we underestimate the influence of Venezuelan oil and how that's helping America's market. And that really is under American control. We don't fully realize, but it is. And this is a guy from the New York Times who gets his insight with Maggie Haberman. And so for him to call that just shows like some things can be partisan, some things can't be. But I think what I'm not looking, so I think like when you're looking at the markets, I think Trump has proven an ability to kind of like, I don't want to say control the oil, but he's able to understand what's necessary to maneuver. But I think where you're seeing the shift in the market is he also has this like, I don't care if I disrupt the markets for a short period of time thing. And could that go longer and he put himself in a situation where he might not get out of? I don't know if that's the case, but I definitely see the possibility because even myself, I'm like, I thought you'd be done by now. And the fact that you're not done by now, why haven't you done this, or this? Right? Like, okay, if like plain and simple, if and this is gonna sound cold, but if this group of, when you keep saying, well, we got rid of the first regime, the second regime, we're doing a whole new group. Well, if this group has now been at the negotiating table for over a month and they don't want to make a deal and they back and forth, guess what? Kill them. Like, seriously, kill the Ayatollah's kid. I mean, the new Ayatollah, kill these guys. That simple as that, right? Like, and get the next guys, right? Like, if it's that's what's kind of like, well, why don't you just do this? And I've heard smart people say that. I know it sounds irrational, but it's the smartest thing to do in this situation.
No. Well, here's a question, man. This is this is kind of like the only question that, and obviously nobody knows, but DJT himself. But do you think there's a chance that they'll actually put not like Israeli troops on the ground or some other Middle Eastern country, but like U.S. troops in Iran?
1,000%.
You still feel that way?
Oh, listen, I think one, I wouldn't be surprised if in one way, shape, or form there are some already, whether it's like special forces or in certain parts
sure.
about, right?
But the news covers it.
Afghanistan, no.
That's going to be like front page. Everyone's going to talk about that.
I'll try to be quick with this. I think that, listen, two things could happen, right? I think that what Trump has been able to do is I think that his recent pullback, he saw his numbers slipping domestically, and he understands that he cannot continue the war he wants if he loses the midterms. If you look at the numbers now and DDHQ polling and like legit pollsters like Frank Luntz, like the reason they pulled Plattner's because not the sexual allegations, those are already out there, is because those candidates do well in the primaries, not in the generals. And they are realizing that they have to make a switch in the generals, right? So like the Democrats. So like, and Trump, I think, is keen to that. So it's a strategy of at home of Trump playing against the Democrats. And now the numbers are even, right? So Trump did his due diligence, right?
That's more of a sign of the Democrats' ineptitude than.
Well, yeah, but that's 100%. He focused the light on the failing Democrats who are polling at 30%. Sure. And so now he's gotten a little edge where he's now able, now look what he's done this last week. And all he's got to do out there is go point at the communists, right? Now, how far that takes him politically is a question. whether that rings true all the way through to the midterms. And that's where I guess I'm a little worried because I just think that the I don't know if troops on the ground like Afghanistan, Iraq come. I don't see that. I see us taking Kharg Island. I see us using, special forces, Mossad. I see an Iranian revolution in the next 6 months before anything. And I also think, like, real quick, there was a story the New York Times broke that where there was a former president of Iran who was no friend to Israel, but like straight out of homeland, he got flipped to the Mossad and they were going to try to install him.
Wow.
Like go back to Operation Midnight Hammer, and we saw how infiltrated Iran was with the Israel and Mossad. Like I would bet the house that the Mossad is working on not one or just two, but like probably a few options of people that might be on that next list down the totem pole. So that's why it's like you kind of have to, if these guys are not going to get along, you got to get rid of these guys and install new people who we can work with, like Adelcy Rodriguez in Venezuela, right? So it just there's a lot more fanatics in the IRGC than we realized, I think. And they also, I think that the IRGC's best friends have been the Democrats. Let's just be honest. They really have. They're sitting back and they're like, oh, we didn't realize it was this easy to mess with the markets like this.
Sure. Sure. All right, bro.
Hey, real quick, World Cup, who do you got, Spain or Argentina?
I got like a 0-0 game. I don't think it's going to be as fun as yesterday, but yeah, I think honestly, it just feels like it's Argentina's year. And I also feel like Argentina. I just feel like FIFA thinks it's Argentina's year, so FIFA's making it happen. So it doesn't matter what anybody thinks.
Well, I will say this: I was obviously rooting for England the whole way, and I feel a certain way about that game. But in zero part of my body, do I want Spain to win? So Viva Argentina!
All right, fair enough. I mean, enjoy the game, man.
I'll see you next week.
All right, man. Peace.